Okay.
Yes. Hi, Melissa.
So,
Thank you.
hi.
Thank you for coming onto the show.
Thank you for welcoming me.
Yes. So, as you know, I'm doing a show for mental health awareness to raise it.
Hmm.
It's called Mind Over Matter, and I'm just going to
Yes.
ask you a series of questions. So,
Okay.
the first one is: so, if do you have a story that you want to share, your personal experience about mental health?
Yes, I do actually. So I've been dealing with OCD since I'm 8 years old. It's a disease who is a bit misunderstood because it's unfortunately used as an adjective to say that people are clean or they like things in order, but it's actually a really hard disease. So I'm going to tell you my story a little bit. So it started when I was 8, but I didn't know it was OCD because I was small. And it was about harming myself. So I'd kind of thoughts about harming myself and being scared of that. So basically, for people who doesn't know what OCD is when you have intrusive thoughts. So thoughts you don't want to have about a subject that scares you. There's a lot of different theme in OCD. You have harm OCD or a contamination OCD that people go through the most. I think it's the most famous. There's relationship OCD. There's a lot of, I think OCD attracts what you value the most in your life. So yeah, that started like that. So I didn't really get what happened, and I was small, so I didn't really talk about it. And um, it lasted for a couple of months, I think. And one day it just went away, and it came back not about say 6 months ago, maybe 7 months ago, when I started dating my actual boyfriend, and I'm starting having intrusive thoughts about my relationship with him, and that maybe I didn't really love him, but at the same time I didn't want to live in him. And I mean, for some people, it can sound a bit weird if you don't have this disease, but it's actually really hard when your mind is constantly, because it's obsession thinking about something that you don't want. It's a bit like your mind is against you. So what happened is that I started feeling really, really low because every day, from the moment I woke up to the moment I was going to sleep, I had these thoughts, obsession thoughts about my relationships, about my boyfriend, and I didn't really understand. So what I did is that I made online research. So first was it was like uh, I feel like I don't love my boyfriend. Doesn't mean that I have to live it anyway. And and one day I fall on an article about a relationship OCD, and I read it and I said, oh, but it looks like. Sorry.
Yes. So I'm just agreeing.
Okay,
Okay.
okay. I thought you talked to me. Sorry. And so I found this article, and yeah, and I read it. So, and I said, well, it looks like what I'm going through. So I did a lot of research, and I kind of made myself a diagnostic, and I remember what I've been through when I was little, and I'm like, it's kind of similar. So what I did is that I took an appointment really about a month after, because at this time I was 17, so I wasn't an adult yet, so it was difficult for me. And to talk about my mom really didn't really get it. She was like, well, maybe you don't feel comfortable with this baby because you don't love him, just. And this terrified me really. So I was like, no, I don't think it's that. I think it's something different, um, something else. And I took an appointment with a psychiatrist, and I explained to me what happened. And she told me, yeah, it looks a lot like you're going through OCD. So after that, I started meds, so antidepressants, because it works for that kind of disease, and therapy. And some days I'm still going through it, but it's much better now. But so it kind of changed, like theme can change. So from my personal experience, I went through so relationship OCD. I don't remember how we call this one actually. It's when you're afraid of being gay. So then I went through trans OCD. It's when you're afraid of not being in the, well, trans OCD. Well, you're afraid of you're a girl and you're afraid of maybe being wanting to be a boy, but it's not the case. I went through existential OCD, so asking a lot of questions about existence and life. And in my lowest, I know it sounds crazy to say, but I felt like I wasn't really in reality. I was, yeah. And I dealt with suicidal OCD, which is the hardest. It's really scary because your body and your mind is convinced that you're going to commit suicide. So, so now I'm much better, and I think for the people who watch this and are into OCD, and so I'm going to explain more for first. I think for the people who don't have OCD. So OCD, it's obsessive compulsive disorder. So like I said before, you have an obsession about anything. There's some theme who come back a lot because a lot of people are dealing with, but it can be about anything really. And so you have anxiety about that, and to release the anxiety, you're going to do something, and it's called a compulsion. So it can be if you have contamination OCD, you're afraid that you touch something with germs, so you're going to wash your hands, and you will feel better for like 10 minutes, an hour, and then it's going to come back. And that's like that, but OCD continues to go. So when I started therapy, what I learned is what compulsion I was doing, because I didn't realize that I was doing compulsion at the beginning. So some of them can be really, we can see them, but some can be mental too. So it's kind of hard. And I stopped doing my compulsions, and I noticed that a change in my going through this disease. I started having less thoughts about, some days I had good days, some days I had worse days. But I noticed, yeah, that it was going down when I wasn't doing any compulsion, because like if you have a thought about some things, everybody can have thoughts, and thoughts are not really the problem in this disease. It's more the action that you do, because you give importance to these thoughts that are only, we can all have crazy thoughts. I mean, all humans have intrusive thoughts. All humans can have a thought about wanting to jump from a bridge when you cross a bridge. It's normal. But people with OCD, they think there's a danger to think like that. So, and it's why after you start having OCD. So for the people who are going through this, I'm always saying, because on social media and I'm following a lot of OCD accounts, and I see a lot of people struggling every day, because when it happens, you don't understand. You're really, really low. Honestly, I never felt so low in my life. I never felt so bad. I just wanted to sleep all day. I just want to wake up, and I'm normally a girl who's full of life, likes life. So it was really, really hard what I went through, and I'm much better now. And I'm happy that I am. But yeah, so if you're going through OCD, you don't give importance to these thoughts that you're having. Just kind of noticing them, but don't do anything about them. Just let them be here. It's not really comfortable, because it's, you have anxiety about them, but it's uh, but when you do a compulsion, it shows actually to your brain and your body that there's a danger about these thoughts. And it's why they keep sending you these thoughts, because your brain goal is to keep you protected. So when you don't do a compulsion, sorry, slowly your brain is learning that there's no danger to these thoughts. And so slowly the anxiety is going to decrease, and slowly you're gonna get your life back.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, and also I wanted to talk about meds, because it's not easy to take meds, because there's a lot of stereotypes about when you take meds, it's because you can't face it anymore. Well, it's bad to take meds, don't take meds. But don't be ashamed of taking meds. It can be really helpful, and
Yeah.
it's why they're here. So if you're struggling, go and ask for help. If you want, you don't have to take meds. I can understand why some people don't want to take meds, but if you are afraid because of what society tells, don't listen to them. It's okay to have meds. They're here for help you. So that's a little bit my story with mental health. And so yeah, and I learned a lot of things about having OCD. Now I'm following more my actions than how I'm feeling in my life, because feelings, they can change, they can fluctuate, I think you say. Yeah, they can change. It depends of how you are in your life. It depends of a lot of things, and it's more important, I think, in life to follow your action. I mean, what you want to do. For example, if you want to write a book, but some days you're like, oh no, it's not gonna work. It will never work, and you're not going to write because you feel like that. That's how it's not gonna work. You have to follow more your objective, even if some days you feel low, even if some days you feel better. Try to be constant. And OCD kind of I learned about with OCD because I kind of stopped following my thoughts. My emotion was, I can say, injured by this disease, and fake most of the time. And I think it's good to function like that in your life. Yeah. So that's it.
Thank you much for sharing the story. And
Thank you.
do you feel that this has made you a stronger and better person, or
I think it did make me a stronger person. I don't know if about a better person, but definitely a stronger person. I think when you go through mental health and you kind of, yeah, when you get through it, uh, and you're out of it after, you feel you're different. You feel stronger, because going through mental health, that can be OCD or depression, or there's a lot of other disease. It can be like the hardest thing in your life, because your mind is against you, and that's really hard. So I think, yes, when you get through this, you're definitely a stronger person, and maybe you're not affected in some little problems you can have in your life than someone who didn't get through depression, or I mean mental illness. So yeah, I think it made me stronger. Yeah, and also before having OCD, I never really I didn't really understand what mental health was. I mean, I knew it existed, but I didn't really get it. And now I know that it's really important to talk about it and to raise awareness, like you're doing, um, because it's some people don't really understand what they are going through, and society, they kind of put that like they it's not a disease. They treat it like it's not a disease, like it's just a state of mind. If you're depressed, it's well because you're not happy in your life, so that means that you have to change something in your life. But it has nothing to do with that. Depression is a disease. I mean, in your life, you can go through moments where you're sad because you got fired, or you broke up with your boyfriend or girlfriend. But when you have depression, it's clinical. It's a disease. It's like when you have it's like when you hurt your knee, or broke a bone. It's a problem. Like, it's real. It's there. It's not something that you made up in your mind, or a state of mind. So yeah, I kind of become more aware about mental health, and I want to talk about it more. And it's why when I saw your message on the platform, I felt like I was like, oh wow, that's really interesting, and it's a subject that I like to talk about.
Yes, and thank you so much. I think people that is going through OCD can relate to your story, and
I hope so. I hope
advice
I explained well.
you did, and hopefully they can take some of your advice, you know, because
Yes,
there are people out there that don't like to share their story and they keep it
it's
inside,
true.
you know.
Well, I'm just afraid too. It can be hard. I talked with people on platforms we talked about OCD, and there's a lot of teenagers. It's really hard when you're a teenager because you're not an adult, so you have to ask permission, and sometimes the parents don't understand. And I kind of try to help them with what I knew and what I learned through therapy, through books, through do a lot of research about the subject. So I kind of, I mean, I'm here to help if if uh, I can put my Instagram account, and if people need help, I can just go in my DM and send me something, and I will be happy to answer if they're going through CD. So yeah.
Definitely. On the video, I can always put your Instagram handle, and if
Oh
people
yeah,
want
okay.
to follow you and, you know, ask for support if they need it, you know.
Yeah, that's great. I will send it to you.
Yes, definitely. And just one more question, because I think you covered most of it actually. Um, the question is, I know you said that like you had relationship OCD, and it did it get worse when you had relationship OCD? Like when you were in a relationship, did your OCD get worse? Or were you like born with it? Like what was the cause basically?
Okay, I actually don't know. So a lot of research said that you can be born with it. It's like that. Or sometimes how you live can well, you can have a CD about if you have a certain life mode. Or stress. Stress is normally when you have a lot of stress in your life, OCD can manifest. So, well, when I was 8, I don't really know what happened. So I don't know really what's the cause, but what happened about 7 months ago is that I was obviously, so I was passing I think it's living certificate uh, in Ireland, and I don't know how you call it in England. But there's a lot of stress, and I was going through a little bit of I was searching myself, as a teenager, and I didn't really know what I wanted to do with my life, and so I think all of that was really stressed during this period, and I think it's why OCD came back, because OCD can normally, and I see it now, it's not as strong as it was before. I mean, I can still have a normal life. I mean, I'm okay, but when I'm stressed about something, OCD likes to come back. So I think stress can be a factor of how it starts. So it's why you have to be. It's why I think it's important to not be stressed. Try to not be too stressed out in your life, and to kind of see the positive side instead of thinking, how can I say, black. Yeah.
Yes.
So because stress, we don't realize, but it's really, really bad for your health. It affects a lot of things. And
It causes many,
so,
yeah.
oh yeah. And I think stressing when you're 16, 17, it's not good. I mean, you're so young.
Yeah.
It's such a shame. And we have a lot. I don't know how it happens in England, but I know that in France, it's because I'm French, so I'm precising. But I know that in France, when you're in secondary school, it's can be hard because we have a lot of exams, and I think it's the same for everybody really, but I know that it's hard. Yeah, it's really hard to be a teenager, to pass exams. Being a teenager, it's not really easy.
I know, but
Mm.
you've done so well and you've come so far. So,
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
but thank you so much.
thank you, thank you. Yeah.
Yes, and if you can send me your Instagram handle so I can put that on the post as well.
Okay.
But it was lovely to meet you.
It was lovely to talk to you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to talk about it.
Yes, thank you so much as well. And hopefully it has raised awareness, your story. So,
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
okay, I'm just going to stop the recording.
Okay.